We are thrilled to welcome back the wonderful Viola Buitoni. Today, she's sharing her first holiday recipes with us, a Christmas evening appetizer board. Let's connect with Viola and see what she's preparing. Ciao Viola, cosa ci prepari oggi?
Ciao Samantha.
What are you preparing for us today?
So today we are talking about fish again.
Uh-huh.
So we're talking about fish because the most favorite day of the year for me is coming up, and that is Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, traditionally, we eat fish in Italy. And so that is the day that I celebrate and I make all these different kind of fish. So I always start with some food that's just sitting on the kitchen counter. So as people come here and the party always starts in the kitchen, they have something to nibble on while they're waiting for me to cook, or sometimes they even join in cooking. So today I'll be talking about a appetizer plate, or almost like an aperitivo plate, which is already out should you come into my house for Christmas Eve. So we'll start with the first dish, the only one that needs a little bit of cooking. And those are mussels. So I have already opened these mussels. And what I did is I just put them in a pan covered, and I turned on the heat to medium, waited about 2-3 minutes. They open and they release some liquid. So it's a very tasty liquid, as you can understand. So I've taken that liquid and I have mixed it with a little bit of tomato concentrate. Here I have some day-old bread, which I just cut with a knife. I roughly chopped it with a knife. To the day-old bread, I'm going to add the tomato paste and juice from the mussels. Then I'm going to put in a little bit of pecorino, grated pecorino romano. That's probably like barely a tablespoon. Some grated oregano, dried oregano. You can do fresh if you want, but I don't have it right now, so I'm just doing dried. And I'm also going to put in some capers, which I have soaked to take off the oil, or the brine if you have the ones in vinegar, or the salt if you want the one in salt. So here's my mix. To it, I add a little bit of grated garlic. So get a fine grater and grate a little bit of garlic into it, just like this much, for about 10 mussels. Okay, not too much garlic because it's going to be overpowering otherwise. I take this thing and I mix it with a spoon. So you just mix it a little bit. Most important thing is that you want to make sure that the garlic is evenly spread throughout.
Right.
This does not need any salt because we have the capers, we have the pecorino, and the mussels are also pretty salty themselves. The last thing I'm going to put in here is just a dash of olive oil. I'm going to take this filling that I made and then put it on top of the mussels without packing it too much. I'm just like laying it there without pressing it down. Of course, you can use any type of herb that you want. I mean, this could take basil, it could take parsley, marjoram. We talked about oregano. I like it with pecorino, but you could use some parmigiano. And we're going to talk about parmigiano in a second. All right, let me redistribute a bit. And then you're going to take this and you're going to put them in the oven. So I am going to just put them in my mini oven because I don't want to turn on the whole oven for this. And they take maybe about 5-10 minutes. You just want them to get warm and you want the cheese to melt a little bit.
Okay.
So let's see what else I did here. Let me tell you, my platter is already happening here. There's a theme to today's preparation, and the theme is fish and cheese. I get this question all the time. Oh, can you put fish and cheese together? Fish and cheese together is bad. And I say fish and cheese, if you do it right, is amazing. So already we started with the pecorino, which went with the mussels. Here we have some ricotta and we have some burrata. The burrata is just natural. I didn't do anything to it. I'm just going to maybe tear it a little bit so that people can pick it up with a spoon. So open and tear it, okay? So the second thing here I have is ricotta. The ricotta is seasoned with olive oil, salt, a little pepper, nutmeg, orange zest, and marjoram, fresh marjoram. So what do I do with the ricotta? So I will pair it with some bottarga. So bottarga is the raw sack of a fish, mullet, or in this case tuna, which is more typical of of Sicily. And I've shaved it. I am going to sprinkle it with a little orange juice, and of course a little oil, because why not?
Yeah.
And this will be the other piece of the bottarga dish, the ricotta dish. So you can see that I have put some toasted bread in the middle. So when your guests come, you're going to instruct it to take a little ricotta. You're going to put it on the bread. And then they will get a couple of slices of bottarga. And you're going to put them on top of the ricotta. And there it is. So it's an interactive plate. You want your guests to actually touch the food and make it while they're eating it. So here's what we do with burrata. We get some really nice anchovies. And I have these little tongs here, what I love. And for this, you want to use the anchovies that are in the jar, the ones that are like whole and pink and beautiful. You are going to just put them here, arrange them nicely on a plate.
Yeah.
Okay, here they are. Yeah, fairly nicely arranged, I think. First of all, I actually want to put a little bit of marjorana tips on the ricotta so that people know there is marjoram, and it looks pretty. There you go. And then the other one that I will do is I will take some mint leaves. I mean, you can mince them if you want. I just stir them with my hands. I make this really easy on myself. Okay. Now, anchovies, as you know, can be pretty salty. So how do we take care of that to make sure that people don't go, oh, this is so salty? So the way that we take care of that is with a lemon. So we just take a lemon and we cut it in half and squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on the anchovies. They don't need olive oil because they're already packed in olive oil. But I do like to put a little slice of lemon. It looks nice and it lets people know that there is lemon in them. So let's talk about these red onions. I always have these in my fridge. These are red onions that are sliced thinly with a little vinegar, little water. That's it.
Yeah.
And they kind of lose their pungency if you put them in vinegar and water. And they also get slightly pickled. Not very strong pickle, just a light pickle. I make them every like 3-4 days. And so they also turn this gorgeous color. Look at this. So I put them over the anchovies. Now, I already have them made, so it's very easy. But were you to make this by yourself, you would be adding less than 2 minutes to the whole process. Yeah. And if you were to make them by yourself, so that they get a little bit of pickling, you would be doing them at the beginning. So what do we give them for this? So another spoon for the bottarga. And they would do the same thing that we did with the ricotta and bottarga. So they would take some of the burrata, put it on the bread that you've toasted for them, and then put an anchovy with some of the onion. And there it is. That's our second thing that we would have ready. We have a third thing that I already got ready for you. This doesn't have any fish, but this is something that I always like to put on my appetizer dishes. Radishes and mustard. This is something I inherited from my dad. My dad always ate that. He always ate radishes with mustard. So whenever I want something quick, just put a little bit of mustard out, some radishes, and put them on your appetizer plate. Okay, while we were doing this, probably our cozze, our muscles are close to ready by now. And they actually are. They're beautifully ready. See how the bread got a little crusty? And they got just a little darker. They smell amazing. Now, what you want to do, you want to instruct people to eat them as if they were oysters. So they would pick it up like that. I'm going to wait for it to cool down a little bit so I don't burn my lips and tongue. So you pick them up and you eat them. They're delicious. So if you want, you can give them a little spoon. That's fine, but you don't have to. One thing that you have to say to people is eat them like oysters, which means you do not eat the shell. And this might seem obvious to you, but I can tell you that once in one of my classes, one of the students said, these are really difficult to chew. They're really hard. And I'm looking at her and she's got mussel shell all over her mouth. So you never know. If you want to be safe, just tell people that they need to eat them like oysters. So this is a little aperitivo platter, which I would have ready for my guests as they're stepping into my kitchen before our Christmas Eve celebration.
Wonderful.
I love it.
I love it. This is great.
And so simple too. Like it's not
Very
as
simple. But it's Italian
Very
food.
simple. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Viola. Stay tuned with Viola for next year.
I'm excited for more
I'm
recipes.
so excited.
I have a surprise for you for next year. We're going to be making salt cod. Baccalà. So,
Yummy.
yes.
I can't wait.
Viola,
Thank
ciao.
you so
Thank
much, Viola.
Thank you so much
Grazie.
and enjoy your holidays.